during this time of quarantine and being at home and planning myself, that's been the dictator of everything because everything is within my control. But what does that mean for me? So I mean, first few days it was definitely a struggle. I mean, if in school I can wake up at 5 and go to bed at 10, I mean, why can't I manage that at home? So I was struggling with that for the first few days. It's like, what's different? Um, but then I figured it's what drives me. So if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, fine. I might not know when I'm gonna do my final exams, but I know what I want to achieve at the end of that. And if it's pushed, I mean, that's fine. It gives me more time to achieve more than what I expect to achieve. So I think for me, it's every morning when I wake up, it's okay. So first, I think planning my time helps. So if it's Sunday, I'll sit down on Sunday evening and plan, okay, so for this week, this is what I'd like to achieve.
Yeah.
And these are the people who are going to be my accountability. So I do that a lot. I have somebody for my academics. Actually, he's in Tatu Boys. But I find that we're very competitive. So like even after exam, we had exams 2 weeks ago, we'd sit down and we'd remove our mark papers and be like, so what was your answer? And then we'd argue it through. I remember there was one evening we took 3 hours just arguing through why did you give that as an answer? Because nobody wants to have the lower grade. So I mean, so that's my accountability. So it's accountability when it comes to my physical life, my academic life, mental life. There are people who I know, okay, I'm going to check up on this person for this week because I know they helped me out. So if it's academics, I know who I'm reaching out to. So I think that's what it is. First, it's accountability, realizing I can't do it alone. I mean, greater together, I guess, as we put it at Nova. And then after that, it's the goals. So it's, okay, now I didn't achieve this. Why didn't I achieve this? I remember the first week when we had online quizzes. I remember it was from March 16th to 21st, the first week when we were home, and we had online quizzes. And Saturday morning, they were due at Saturday at 5 p.m. And I still hadn't done 4 of them. And I sat and I tried to figure out, why is it I've not done these? And it goes back to time management where everything is within your control. So you find you spend a lot of time sitting around doing whatever you feel you want to do, which is a good thing. I mean, you can decide what you're going to do, which I think has helped me achieve more. So it's even if I swim, so even if it's doing my physical training every day, it's what progress am I making. If it's my academics, I mean, I've reached a point where I think even if I decide to do an online course for campus, I'd be able to manage it. Never thought I'd be able to sit down, wake up in the morning. If in school I'd have woken up at 4, why can't I at home? So I think those were the first two things about my inner voice. It was, what is my time management for myself? And then also incorporating the people around me. So my family, the tasks that I have to perform in the house, and also now my accountability. So how am I'm getting support from others, and how am I supporting others? Because accountability is
it's a
two-way. Yeah, so I think that was also important. And then I think it's taking time to, I'd say, improve your thinking. I think during this time I've realized that many of us are very negative. And I think the person who's helped me out a lot with that is my dad. So we sit down and watch these podcasts on philosophies and just how we think, which many of the times turns out to be negative. So I mean, even now as I sit down, I think I'm becoming more considerate of people. So I mean, I may be home. There's a tendency when you're home, I mean, you're eating more, spending more money. That's not exactly. Also for me, it's okay. So how am I making use of this situation? How am I helping the people around me? So I think my inner voice has been more of reaching out to others as I try and improve the best version of myself. Yes, I guess that's a summary.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, Rita. And I feel like it's so interesting to see how what is important to you plays out with also the external. Earlier on today morning, I was talking about how, character is one of the things that we're really focusing on. And it's not just about you as an individual person. It's also like the role you play as a unit within the community. Thank you so much for those insights. So, Raphael, I'll go next to you. Like, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay, so what is the inner voice to me? In a simple term, I think it means the fire that kindles in your soul. Like what drives you and motivates you to do something, or some things rather.
Yeah.
my inner voice for me hasn't always been my best friend, as I'd say, because of let me say comfortability, especially now in this situation where we are literally put in our comfort zones and told to learn as if we're in school. So it has been quite a journey, an experience, I must say, that we are going through in this time of uncertainty, where who knows if we'll do KCSE this year or in February next year, or full on repeat the whole year, and all these rumors and news goes around making you speculate, building an anxiety. So it's about finding a balance, a way of keeping calm and keeping the spirit to continue working, even though it might seem that whatever you're working for may not be reachable at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is truly finding your inner voice. When you use that to get whatever you need to be done, when you use that to wake up in the morning, when you use that to do your assignments, and use that to read through the work and all these things that we have experienced during this online learning experience. Yes. Also, what ties with your inner voice is your motivation. How you can use your inner voice to motivate you to keep pushing. Like being at home, as Nduta said, gives you a lot of. It's basically your comfort zone. I remember the first few weeks waking. I was used to waking up at 5, at 5 or 4, and now I'm here at home, probably waking up at 7 or 8, eating more. There is a lot of noise and distractions around, so it's good to have something that keeps you in line and keeps you motivated to reach the end goal in mind. It's good to find your inner voice and trust that even though in this uncertain times full of anxiety and fear or pressure, you know that you can that there's actually something that's going to come out of all of this. And if you stay true and you keep working, you will get the end. You will still reach the end, and you will be very happy when you find what you are looking for. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Raphael, especially because most of the parents who are on the call and the students are actually in the same situation that Nduta and you are in, right? Because sitting for national exams, you're just about to finish one level and go to the next one. So it's really refreshing to hear that encouragement. And I hope, like for the students on the call, that you're at least able to pick that up. And if you have any questions, to these individuals who are in the same boat as you, please utilize the chat session and ask the questions. So next I'll go to Alan. Talk to us.
Thank you. To me, the inner voice in general is what keeps you going, what drives, what is your drive, what gives you confidence through uncertain times, and what gives you advice through times that you are unsure of what to do. Like what Raphael has said, you've been totally put into your comfort zone, because in school, everything is set so it can be easy to learn. There are no distractions. The school itself is placed in such a way that there's maximum peace and tranquility for you to just work on something. But here you are at home, where you're just supposed to be comfortable and do nothing, and yet you're asked to be in class. So you'd find that waking up is hard. There are so many times when I go to bed, when I wake up, I hear my alarm. I'd want to turn it off, but I have to go to class. So that's one case where my inner voice helps me. In the first week, when we were told to start learning, I used to turn off my alarm completely. I used to just turn off my alarm, and I had to be waking up again. So until they reached a certain point that I said that I couldn't continue. And I trusted my inner voice, which now helps me no matter what happens, I still must wake up, because I wake up at 5:45 a.m. just to study, then start the online classes at 7. So another thing, you should also trust your inner voice, because it gives you confidence, and it also helps you trust other people to help you. You're a very negative person if you didn't trust your inner voice. And being negative, you will shun people away from you. And without people's help, you can't really go that far with only your inner voice, without anyone to lean on or anyone to give you advice, because everyone has a mentor. And this can actually help you be more like your mentor, or do what he or she does. That's the definition of the inner voice to me.
Okay, beautiful. So it's been very interesting here, like you, everyone on the panel talk about, inner voice and how that has played out. But then from just a few of you, just each and every one of you touching on it, I've been able to see that, yes, it's not an easy journey. And for the sake of the students and the parents, and even people like me who, yes, we had one way of thinking about this, or we thought it's going to be linear. Yet we realized that there's, the ups and downs. And I'm particularly interested in the challenges, the pitfalls you get, especially when you're building that inner voice, and how you overcome it. And I'd actually like to start with you, Alan, because you've mentioned that, in the first few weeks, you're really struggling with waking up. You'd snooze the alarm, and then it reached a point now you started, holding yourself accountable. So apart from that, what other things have been challenging in this journey of you finding your inner voice, and how have you been able to overcome that, right? So that we can be able also to see how we can also overcome our own struggles within our own personal journeys on this call.
Yeah. With finding your inner voice, at first, when you don't trust your inner voice, so you would want to do something, and let's say you don't know it's wrong, or you do, either one, but you'd still do it, because even though you have an inner voice, you don't trust it, because you're not sure of where it could lead you, and you're just shunning it away. And in that, you might end up doing the activity or what you do, and it might end up hurting other people or you yourself. Like an example of myself, I used to get into a lot of problems in the past in primary school, only because I didn't follow my inner voice. So I had to go for a few counseling sessions on how to manage what I was going through at the time. And when I went through those counseling sessions, I had to call myself for a meeting and actually ask myself, what was it that I was doing wrong? And when I reflect every single time on what I was doing wrong, I remember that there's something that usually told me not to do this or to do this other thing, and I never used to follow it. So that's when I knew that there was something looking out for me that was in me, myself. And I decided, let me try and follow it for a few times. Let's see where it will lead me. And the next time, it was my friends. It was me and my friends. They were about to go do something, and they were called to the principal's office. Since I didn't do what they wanted to do, it was at night, I just slept, because my inner voice told me, you shouldn't do that. It's nighttime, you should just sleep. So I slept. The next day, they were seen by the CCTV camera, and they were called to the principal's office. And I wasn't caught at all. So I started taking my inner voice seriously and starting to trust it, and knowing that it just wants the best for me. And if I trust it, more and better things will just come your way easily.
That's interesting you've mentioned that, because right now there's usually this famous saying, we see it being thrown around on social media or even in pop culture, where people are saying, if you know, right? So I feel like if you know something is wrong, you know it, right? If you know that you're supposed to wake up at 7 and you're snoozing, you already know it. So I think there's no magic there. It's just like listening to yourself and following that. And I think to the people on the call, this is something very important to note, especially when it comes to time management and when it comes to even making decisions. If you know that maybe you want to make a decision on something and you've been struggling with it, chances are you already know what decision you need to make, right? So I think it's all about biting the bullet and going ahead and making that decision. So thank you so much for that insight, Alan. So I'll go to Raphael and then we'll go to Nduta. Just, are there any additional insights that you're able to share based on what Alan has mentioned?
So based on what Alan has talked about, trusting your inner voice is also, in my opinion, hard enough as it is, because you honestly, when you think about it, you don't always know if it's the right thing for you. You might be influenced by other people. Maybe they're guiding you to something that isn't the best for you, but since they're all doing it, I mean, why shouldn't I? But then your inner voice is there, it's trying to tell you to stop or not to do it, and then you get conflicted. So the point of now coming to trust it and ensuring that you believe that whatever you're telling yourself is good for you and is the right thing to do, that's a big step people need to learn how to take, and is very interesting when you get to know how much your inner voice truly looks out for you. Like some experiences here at home have been very challenging and depressing. Things to do with noise from outside or network issues, or just being too comfortable to be bothered by anything. Some of those issues are really challenging. And when you have your inner voice to tell you or to help you get through it all, when the network is bad, and you just, instead of just giving up, you just continue trying. You make sure that whenever it comes back, you're hitting the nail on the head. Whenever there's noise, you try to find a quieter environment where you can work or read. Making sure that you're watching your weight instead of getting chubby. Yes, if I may use that word. Making sure that you're not losing focus and you're going towards the direction you would have if this situation wasn't there. And I think that's the inner voice that is helping you to find the correct path for you to take, so that you can achieve these goals that you made and that are still valid, even though we are still in uncertain times. So trusting your inner voice is a very important thing to do, and also finding it and making sure that you listen even when everything else is telling you the contrary. Yes.
Thank you so much, Raphael. Nduta, anything to add on that?
Yes, actually, I agree with what they've shared. And while they were sharing, I thought about it and I said, okay, my challenges, and I think I can sum them up into three things. The three things I think I struggle with the most concerning my inner voice would be, first, doubt, and then failure, and contradict that, success. I think those are the three things that I think are my major challenges when it comes to my inner voice. And I think doubt, obviously, is that many of the times, as you've said, we know what we need to do. Your mind knows you need to do what you need to do. But many of the times you're like, do I really have to? Or is it worth it? Am I doing the right thing? Am I putting in the right effort? Am I reading the right content? Am I putting enough time into the right things? Am I keeping the best relationships for me? So I think many of the times we both doubt ourselves doubt the things we're pursuing, doubt the things people around us. So I think first that's my major challenge. Many of the times I think, okay, am I really putting in enough effort? Am I, many of the times, I mean, it comes to your head, oh, am I doing what other people expect me to do? Am I meeting their expectations? So I think that's one major one, doubt. And then now to my success and my failure, which are contradicting, but I think they're both challenges in their way, in the sense that first, when you start with the failure, many of the times you're like, but I thought I did the right thing. I thought that's what I needed to do. I thought I put in enough effort into my math grades, but this is what I have. So I think failure many of the times causes us to despair, and may cause us to, again, doubt our inner voice. So I think another major challenge is failure, because, I mean, you're not always going to succeed. And I think that's also been part of the joy of it, is that, okay, fine, I know a new lesson, I've learned something new that I shouldn't probably do again, unless I want to end up with the same results. So I think that's the second one. So failure, many of the times, it's failure. And then now the success, which may be contradicting, because I think many of the times you think, okay, I did it, so it may get into your head. So we let success get into our heads and the failure get into our hearts. So many of the times you sit down and you're like, okay, I did it, I think I've done enough. You think of maybe in Form 4 Term 1 and you have an average of 80, and you sit down and you think, okay, I guess if this is what I got in KCSE, this is an A, so what more effort do I need to put in? So many of the times, part of your inner voice is hindered by success, where you let that get to your head. Many of the times you think, okay, fine, my parents are well off, or my parents can pay fees and I have food on the table. I guess I'm fine. What more do I need to do? Even though your voice may be telling you in the morning, get up, you need to work, get up, you need to get this done. So I think that's also been, those are my three major challenges. I think I could sum it up into those three things: my doubts, my failures, and my success. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nduta. I can see Lynn is back with us. And before I get to Lynn, I just want to read one question that we've gotten. So as Lynn talks to us about her inner voice and the challenges, let's think about how we can answer this question from Charlene Langat. It's Charlene is saying, I've been wanting to ask someone this question, but what's the best way of not procrastinating? Charlene, thank you so much for this question, because I feel like you're speaking for me as well. So this is a question that at least we'd like to hear from the panel, from Alan, Raphael, Lynn, and Nduta as well. So Lynn, we're glad we have you back. So please take us through, your inner voice, first of all, that journey, and then also the challenges that you're facing, like finding it and how you're overcoming it.
Okay, so for me, basically, the inner voice, according to me, is that something that drives me to do things, like my day-to-day routine. That thing that makes me wake up in the morning. That thing that drives me to participate in class. And my challenges. For me, one challenge that I had was friends, and before I got to know and understand my inner voice, it was difficult, because you get my friends get to tell me to do this, because I don't, my inner voice, I go and do it. But after sitting down and talking to myself, I came and understood what my inner voice was, and I started to trust it. Yes.
Interesting. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Lynn, because I think there's also the aspect of peer pressure in all this, right? And for me, the greatest challenge has been, sometimes, yes, of course, with social media, I don't know how much you access your social media, but of course, for me, that's something that I get to use a lot, because it's also in my line of work. I get to see people are doing so many things, and yet I've only done one thing, right? So I start comparing my story to theirs, and I've been sharing this with my colleagues and mentioning maybe I should get out of social media because you're seeing people doing things maybe 10 times better, but then you're not there in the process of them documenting it. So you start comparing, and I think that drowns your inner voice. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Lynn. So back to the original question from Charlene Langat about what's the best way to avoid procrastination, right? And I don't know who's ready to answer this because I'm also eager to hear. Alan, yes, you can go.
The thing is with procrastinating, it's you who does it, so it's only you who can stop it. And one way I think you can stop procrastinating, because I'm also falling victim of procrastinating multiple times. And the only way I think you can actually stop is just to call yourself for a meeting, and also trusting your inner voice is part of it, because you shouldn't put away what you can do today for another time, because you'll just be piling up work, and the more you pile up, the harder it becomes for you, because at the end of the day you will have to do it, and what would have been simple would now be harder because you piled up so many tasks and you'll have to do it all at once. It'll take so much energy and time out of you. You'll be tired at the end of the day. Maybe you won't even be through. So the only way is just to call yourself for a meeting and just have a goal, because a goal actually helps you to just push through regardless of the circumstances you're going through. Just say, I want to finish this essay by today at 8 p.m. When she's 8 p.m., I want to be done. So you've already set a goal for yourself. Regardless of what happens, you need to meet the expectations that you yourself have set, because no one else has set that expectation for you. And the best thing about setting your own goal is that you will feel fulfillment after you've done what you were supposed to do at the right time, at the right time, or before the time actually comes. And the type of fulfillment you will feel is just so nice. It'll just keep on letting you go. You just want to do more and more work, and you'll find instead of piling up work now, you'll have less work to do because you already did most of it. And you'll have time to just think through, manage your things, manage everything you have to do. And another thing is also you need to plan for the work you need to do. You also have to manage everything, every single activity you want to go through this day. As I told you, set a goal. Your goal also works hand in hand with plans and management, because without a plan or wanting to manage what you do, a goal won't be that accurate anymore. Because what if you've set a goal for 3 different things, but you're supposed to be finished at the same time, and you have a limited amount of time? It's not possible. So by planning, you'll have set away everything at its own time, and everything would have just been perfect. You wouldn't have to wait all the time, and all you need to do is just keep on pushing through, following your inner voice, and at the end of the day you would have finished everything that you had to do at the right time, and you'll just feel more encouraged to continue working, and also encourage others to do the same as you've done. So I think that's the way to deal with procrastination.
Yeah, so there's definitely something there to say about celebrating small wins. So if you do something that you had set, so it all comes from planning and then the goals, and then once you follow through on those and you hit one milestone, there's that fuel to go to the next one. So thank you so much for sharing that, Alan. Anyone else who's ready to go?
Just to add on what Alan said, I totally agree with him. I think the time management is quite a key aspect, but I find even when I sit down and I plan my time, I have a schedule, I still many of the time get carried away by different activities or distracted. And I remember during my first week at Nova Pioneer in Form 1, there was a class we did on self-mastery. and it's where a teacher emphasized on how it would have to get to a point in our lives where the reason we wake up to do things is not for other people, it's for ourselves. So every morning you wake up, it's for you. Your education is for you. Your success is for you. Other people benefit, but it's actually for you. It's not for my parents. It's not for my teachers, my siblings. It's for me. And part of that is um, as you start to gain self mastery, you start to do things on your. You have a schedule, and you train yourself to follow that. I think it's an interesting journey because it's not easy. Um, there are times when you fall short, but that's also where the accountability comes in. So it's finding people around you who have a common goal. I was thinking about when Robert was sharing about how there's peer pressure on the social media. The example he gave, I thought, okay, I take that positively. I think that's positive peer pressure because many of the times the people around us are not doing anything, or they're not doing as much, or we don't look like we're working towards the same goal. So I think for me, it's surrounding myself with people who have achieved more than I have and seem to be um, working harder and have goals. So it means that if I tell them, okay, this is my goal, what do you think I can do? They'll, find out in the midweek. So, where have you gotten with that? It's quite embarrassing to say, I've made no progress when this person is making effort. So I think accountability is a big aspect of everything, whether it's you following your inner voice or procrastination. I think when you have other people who, if I know I'm waking up in the morning, um, just to my academic accountability partner, we wake up in the morning at 4:30, even at home, and it's a habit now. When I wake up in the morning, if I wake up before him, I'll call him on phone so that he can wake up and get to the reading. So I know that I can't oversleep because he's gonna call me, and I want to be the one to call him. So it's I think that's how it works. When you have people around you who are chasing the same thing, it helps. But many of the times, not everyone is chasing the same thing. So it's good to differentiate. It's good to help them. So it's not, you're not doing the same thing. Thank you for your time, but it's okay. So I'm supporting you, but I also need to be supported. So I think accountability is a big aspect of procrastination. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that insight, Rita. I think someone mentioned, sorry, I think it was Raphael or you, something about negativity. And of course, like when you think about peer pressure, there's the positive aspect to it, and then there's a negative one, right? And it all depends on how you're looking at it. So thank you for that clarification. Raphael?
Much has been said about procrastination. I guess since I have also been a victim of procrastination in my life, I'd say dealing with it is not easy, honestly. I know that I myself have suffered procrastination, putting things either to the last minute or way beyond the time they're needed. But it's mostly about what has been talked about, accountability and also goal setting, where you can have certain milestones or points where you reach to finish whatever you're supposed to do. For instance, let's say you have an essay to write in 5 days or something, a hypothetical situation. If you put it off to the last day, you will have to write that essay, let's say it's 600 words. A 600-word essay on one day might be very tiring. So you make a plan. You say, let's say every day, I write a paragraph of the essay or two, and slowly you'll be finished by the deadline. So when you write that first paragraph on that first day, you feel like you can actually do this, that this is not something I can put off for the next day. So that motivates you for the next day to write again until finally you finish your goal. it's also about accountability, where if you can tell yourself that you're going to do this, but having someone to push you to do it, surrounding yourself with people who will keep you accountable for your goals and the actions that you wish to take is also a good step in ensuring that you combat against procrastination. And I think this also ties to trusting your inner voice, in that when you procrastination is an effect of either feeling unmotivated or feeling comfortable, in that you do not want to do this or there is enough time to do this. But when you find your inner voice and you use it as a factor to help you do something, to help you achieve that certain goal, I think that's also a good step someone needs to take in order to combat against procrastination. Also, just making sure that you're using your inner voice to motivate you to build to the goal that you've set, to do the work that you need to do.
Okay.
I think that's a good way to beat procrastination.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Raphael. It's very helpful, and I think it has put a lot of things into context. And I don't know why every time I want to come to Lynn, there's a question that has come in. So Lynn, as you think of how you're going to answer the question of how to beat procrastination, let me just throw this so that as Lynn answers that, then everyone can think about this. So there's a question here. It doesn't tell it's from who, but I think it's a great one. And I think this is to anyone in the panel who will be able to answer it and anyone who can add on to it. Do you feel that your life has changed or improved once you found your inner voice? And do you expect that your understanding of your inner voice will change with time? So that's something to chew on as Lynn talks to us about her strategies of tackling procrastination. So Lynn, take it away.
Okay. No, I'll just concur with what people have said. How to go about procrastination. You'll have to make a schedule. This making a schedule and accountability. Because okay, for me, I've also been a part of procrastinating. And the only way I went about it was by making a schedule so that it can help me. And I think that can also help. Yes.
Yeah, so apart from the planning, I think it's also important just to everyone in the call that you hear the punch words, right? So there's been planning, there's been, goals, but what has been emphasized is the schedule, like the schedule and the plan is the same thing, right? If you're revising for your KCP exams, you can't just be revising willy-nilly. You have to have a plan. What's your timetable? What are you doing at the end of each day? How are you tracking that time? So I think that's a very great addition, Lynn. And then there's a question from Griffith Mugendi. So as we answer the other one, then someone else can be thinking about this. And I think this is a very important one. And I think it goes to everyone. How do you unleash your inner voice? Because I feel we've been talking about it a lot, but how do you unleash it? And I think if we can get the answer to that question, that would be like really beautiful. Because I can see also time is not on our side, but at least we have some minutes where we can be able to at least tackle the two questions. So who's ready to answer the first question about, maybe let me repeat the question. It was, do you feel like your life has changed or improved once you found your inner voice? And do you expect that your understanding of your inner voice will change with time? So who's ready to answer that?
Okay, I think I can start.
Okay.
So to Peter Kimuli, the
Mm-hmm.
person who asked the question,
Mm-hmm.
I think my answer to the first part of the question is, do I feel like I have changed or improved since I found my inner purpose, my inner voice, sorry. I think for sure, I think I have improved. And I think even getting feedback from the people around me, I think there has been growth. And if you say, have I changed? I think many of the times when you think of change, we think of it as a drastic change. I don't want to use the word change, but a drastic change in dimension, a drastic turnaround. So I think I've not changed if you're looking at it in that aspect. I think it's been a constant process. And I don't think we wake up one morning and we're like, I think this is what my voice says, and I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I think as you try out different things, you find your inner voice. So many times you're going to try many times before you find what it actually is. But it's always going to be there. There's always something telling you to do the things that you're supposed to be doing. You'll always feel it. Um, but then it's a gradual process. And I think you find it as you invest time in different things. So I think as you invest time in helping the people in your community or growing yourself, whether it's verbally, how you converse with people, or whether it's growing yourself in how you, yes, relate with people, but also how you relate with yourself and treat yourself. I think that's also how you find your inner voice. So sometimes it's a slow process as you discover other things in your life. I don't think it's one thing that this is my inner voice. It's all these other aspects of your life, how you relate with people, how you treat yourself. And in part of that treating yourself, even when you're dealing with your procrastination, I think sometimes it helps to award yourself. So I mean, sometimes say, okay, this is my goal, and if I achieve this, even with the support of your parents, I think I should award myself this at the end of this goal. If I get this in my KCPE, I think that this is what I should award myself for the effort. So your change is not going to be you wake up in the morning and now you're this extrovert person who can express themselves very well, be respectful, relate very well with other people, articulate your thoughts. I think it's a slow process and it requires you to invest time in other things. So that's, I think, how I would, whether I've changed. And do I expect my understanding of my inner voice to change? I definitely expect it to change because, as I mentioned, it's been a gradual process. In fact, my dad was mentioning a few days ago how over this time I've become more grateful, more thankful, which I think is true. I'm starting to appreciate some of the things around me, which I never did before. Even though I may have said I found my inner voice, it's that because you find it, but you're not done exploiting it. So every day I find something new about myself. Um, every day you're learning something new. So I think I expect it to change. I mean, even as I change, as the decisions I make change, I expect even my inner voice to change, to adapt into the things around my environment. I mean, when I was in school, my inner voice was telling me to go to prep or go sit in class or go meet my teacher for office hours. But now I don't have that. So my inner voice has to adapt into now what is in my environment. And now my inner voice is more of, okay, I need to help out with the dishes, or I need to go and do these notes. I need to call this person to help me out with this topic I didn't understand. So yes, I expect my understanding of my inner voice to change as my environment changes. Yes, I think that's how to answer the first question. I'll leave it to the rest of the panelists to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Nduta. Anyone else willing to add in?
I'm willing.
Mm-hmm.
So the question about how it has shaped my life personally,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of both, okay, in my opinion, I think it has helped me a lot. Once you find your inner voice and start listening to it, it actually is a sense of drive, something that helps you know where you're really going. So I think it has improved my sense of motivation. finding the reason to wake up every day, to continue working as if I was in school, to continue pushing myself the way I would have if I was around the people I'm used to. And being in the different situations in life, I think my understanding of my inner voice will change based on the situation that I'm facing. Currently, I think it's a way to keep myself motivated, to keep myself active and happy. That although we're still in some trying times and I don't know what might happen, I have the reason to continue working, to continue doing what I would have done if this wasn't there. And that's my inner voice coming out and helping me, and using it as a compass to guide me through this time. Yeah, it's like a subconscious feeling that you have that just helps you navigate through whatever you're facing. If you're feeling tired, it gives you a sense of drive that even though you are tired, you still need to accomplish this. You still need to do this assignment or talk to this teacher. You still need to read this book. You have to finish it. You have to analyze it. You have to make sure that you've grasped it. You maybe are feeling tired. It's 6 a.m, but it's telling you you need to wake up. You need to read. You need to prepare for the day. Just making sure that it's helping you become who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's helping you become the best version of yourself.
Okay.
I think that's what the inner voice is for me right now. And as I grow, I'm sure it will change or improve my being, and I'll get to understand what it is more and more.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Raphael. I noticed that we are a bit pressed on time. We're meant to end at 7, and it's 7:01 right now. So what I'll do in the next 3 minutes, I'll just give each one of us, like an opportunity to just give a short message, to the Class 8 candidates, in terms of, like words of wisdom, right? And then as that is happening, there'll be just a last poll that will be sent in, so that you can be able, for the parents, at least you can be able to answer that. But please, your words of wisdom to, the Class 8 candidates and their parents, since we're all in this together. So maybe we can start with Lynn, and then go to Alan, and then we can finish with the Form 4s. And then as the poll is being set up.
Okay. So what I'll urge the Class 8 and the parents is they work harder, they should not give up, and they should trust in their inner voice, and they shouldn't doubt it. Even though we're going through a tough time right now, this will all go to pass, so we should just not give up.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Alan? Alan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
I'd want to tell the candidates that they should press on regardless of the state that we're in right now, because it will come and pass, but their studies will always help them in the future and even now. And as for their parents, they should continue supporting them, and with anything they need, let it be material or just mutual support that helps drive them every single time they want to continue. And they should also follow their inner voice, and they should let their inner voice help them, because even as situations change, the inner voice can improvise to help them do their best. It adapts and it also overcomes situations. Every single situation sent their way or anyone else's way at that, because it also helps you come up with solutions as the culture principle solutions first. It helps you come up with solutions to conquer the problems that are being sent your way. And as you can see, the problems being sent their way are, let's say, lack of material to study as of now, lack of time, or let's say even if they have time, they're not that serious about studying because they're just home, they're comfortable. If you follow your inner voice, it will drive you to do more even if you're home. And it always wants the best for you. And at the end, when you follow it, you will succeed regardless of anything that you were passing through before. Yeah, that's what I've
Thank,
found.
yeah, thank you so much, Alan. So we can go to the seniors. We can start with Raphael and then Duta to wrap it up.
So what I'd urge the class 8s and the class 8 parents is to have fortitude, courage under fire. In these trying times, I know it's a little hard to keep going or to keep pushing because of all the challenges and speculations about the exams. But I'd urge for you to have fortitude and also just to continue working hard and also work smart. We might not be able, we don't know what will happen to the national exams, whether they'll happen this year or not. But working smart, make sure you're prepared for that situation, whatever the outcome, whatever time it will happen. Just work smart and just trust in your inner voice and believe that you will, and believe in your own success where you will work hard. You should work hard, work smart, build the confidence and build the what should I use? You should build the confidence in yourself. You should also build your I'm losing the word. You should build you should build the resilience and also just keep your knowledge. Yes, you make sure you build your knowledge to succeeding in the national exams when they do come. But for now, just make sure you're reading, make sure you're working smart in the trying times and having fortitude. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And then Duta, if you can summarize it.
Okay. I think there's been a lot of good words of wisdom from Alan, Lean, and from Raphael. I think just to sum it up, I'd say I think don't give up. It's just the beginning of the journey. High school may seem short, but I think there's a lot to learn. So, yeah, don't give up. It's not the end of the world. What else would I say? Work hard, but also work smart. Don't drain yourself. Sometimes you don't get the results you want, but know there's a future. There are things ahead of you that will work for you. I think, yes, just work hard. Don't struggle with finding your inner voice. Don't wake up tomorrow morning and say, now I need to find my inner voice. Just take time to grow yourself. Take time to ensure that your mind is in a good mental state. I think many of the times we neglect that and focus on the academics, how are my grades looking. I think take time to grow yourself and take time to internalize your community. So I think note that you're not an island and there are many people around you who are supporting you. Your parents are supporting you. That's why you're here on this call, because they are looking to help you grow in the future. So I think be thankful of that. I think utilize that, and then for sure, the things that you desire shall come to pass. I think I'll sum it up as that. Thank you. Thank you for all the great questions. I think they've been quite good questions asked. I hope we answered your questions. If you have any more, I'm sure there's a way you can reach out to the Nova Pioneer community. But it's been great interacting with you, and we hope to see you sometime soon. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Nduta, and thank you so much for the points. So please just take time to fill in this questionnaire so that we can learn more about you and see how best we can serve you in future in terms of, what kind of content would you like to see more, and what part of the application process are you in, and things like that. So just take time and answer it, and then we will be able to end the call shortly. And then thank you so much for your patience. We're 9 minutes over time, but I'm sure it's been worth it. For the students, thank you so much for taking time. I know it's been a busy day of classes, but we don't take it for granted that you took this time to be with us. So we really appreciate it. I can see there's a few more. Great. So the poll is closed. We can see 17 people voted. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to hosting more of this, so that you get to interact with our students. And for the students, you get to interact with each other. Hopefully, Lynn and Alan, you can get to connect with Nduta and Raphael, and get to exchange a few notes here. And they'll be very happy to connect you off the call. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. It was such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.